Join us now and Dr. John Goodman from Dallas, Texas. He is a senior fellow with the Independent Institute, a nonprofit, nonpartisan public policy research group. So first of all, doctor, am I making any mistakes in my analysis?
No, I don't think you are. I think what this bill reflects is that Donald Trump is probably the best marketer in politics today. And it's very obvious that he wants to connect with blue-collar families. And when you hear him talk about it, he says no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. That's the way he describes it. In fact, none of those taxes are really going away. What's happening here is there is a small tax break for people with moderate incomes, and it goes away in 4 years. But it's a terrific way for Donald Trump and the Republican Party to connect with people who used to vote for Democrats.
Okay, but $25,000 on tips deductible, that's significant for the service industry people. It's absolutely significant. And it goes away in 4 years. So let's hope that it doesn't go away, because those people need all the assistance they can get. But overall, the American public, and I'm going to do this right after we wrap this interview with you, has a negative view of this bill because they haven't been told the truth about it. And, you know, I got millions of viewers, doctor, all over the world. But it's, you know, there are 365 million people in America right now, counting illegal aliens. And they hear this stuff. They're not paying attention, many of them. And, oh, they're going to cut Medicaid and Medicare. They're going to cut this. They're going to cut that. This is a concerted propagandistic effort to undermine what Trump wants to do. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. The public is being lied to about how the income tax system actually works, and Republicans have done a very, very poor job of defending themselves. Now, the way our system works is the rich are not getting away with not paying their fair share. In fact, the rich pay almost all the income taxes. The bottom half of the income distribution pays 2 or 3% of all income taxes. They pay almost nothing. The top 1% are paying 40% of income taxes. The top 10% pay 75%. So we have the most progressive tax system in the whole world, far more progressive than any European country. And why is it that way? Because of Republican tax legislation. Every time the Republicans have legislated, they've thrown more and more people off the tax rolls. And Republicans never brag about it. They never go out and say, look, reason half the people aren't paying the income taxes is because of us. You never hear them say that. So they have shifted the burden to the rich, and they don't want to tell you that, and the Democrats lie about it.
Okay, but the Republican, their basic philosophy is lower taxes. And the wealthy, because we're in a transitional age into high tech, all right, there are plenty more billionaires than there used to be, just as there were at the 20th century. You know that, turn of the 20th century with Rockefeller and Morgan and all those people with these big colossus corporations taking over the infrastructure of the United States. I write about it in Confronting Evil, which is be out in September. I mean, some of these people, they call them the robber barons, were as evil as they come because there was a transition and they got fabulously wealthy. The same transition is taking place, or has been for the last 20 years, into technology. And the founders of Apple and all these people, they make gazillions of dollars because that's happening. But the Republican Party doesn't want to punish them. It doesn't want to confiscate what they have earned or in some cases inherited. Am I wrong on that?
Well, a little bit. Again, what the Republican Party has done is shift the burden of taxation to the upper part of the income distribution.
Which would be that.
Democrats didn't do that. Republicans did that. And through every single time they legislated, they threw more people off the tax rolls and shifted the burden. Well, let's take the 2017 first Trump tax cut. I mean, what did it do? After it passed, we were told that was a tax cut for billionaires, right? And within a few years, we find out that the top 1% have a greater share of the tax burden than they did before the bill was passed. So that's pretty much the way tax law has gone, and Republicans don't talk about it.
All right, because most of the voters are not wealthy people, and both parties want those voters' support. And And it's not only that they don't pay any taxes, Doctor, as you well know. Federal government sends millions of Americans money if they don't, reach a certain threshold of income. They get checks in a form of tax credits. And so you're right, but I think that the philosophy is Democrats tax up to here, have the government run the economy, socialism. Republicans lower the taxes as much as possible, even for the big corporations, and let capitalism run. That's what I think the two philosophies are. Last word.
Well, that's certainly the way they talk about it. But in reality, we have a very progressive tax system. Republicans have created it, and they don't explain it very well.
All right, Doc, we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Again, we'll see if this bill passes in the House. It's going to be a brawl. Pretty interesting situation. We should know by this time next week if we do have a new spend and tax bill. Now, as I mentioned, CNN's propaganda is now at a record level, and they don't like the bill at all. There isn't one corporate entity outside of Fox that supports this bill. It just tells you, where they are as far as their politics is concerned. Here's what was said on CNN last night about the big bill. Go.
I'll give you some adjectives. How about awful, horrible, and to quote our dear friend Mr. Sir Charles Barkley, terrible, terrible, terrible. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we take a look at the big, beautiful bill? I got five, not just four, 5 different polls across the screen for you. This is the net favorable rating. The highest rating comes from the Washington Post at minus 19 points.
Okay. I mean, I'm not arguing the numbers. I know what people hear constantly, every day, and they do not hear the truth, which is why I'm so happy that you are watching and listening to me right now, because we will always tell you the truth. Always. All right, American Pride, new poll, Gallup, just in time for the 4th of July. How proud are you to be an American? Extremely very proud, 58. Moderately, only a little proud, 30. Not at all proud, 9. Now that extremely very proud number is down 23 points in 10 years. So in 2015, 81% of Americans were extremely or very proud. And that is because of President Trump, the polarizing effect that he has had. Second question, to Republicans, how proud are you to be an American? 92% of Republicans say they're proud to be an American. Democrats, 36%. Ooh. Independents, 53. This is extremely and very proud. So there you go. Democrats, they do not like the country right now because of MAGA. The MAGA people overwhelm them. And Kamala is not president. Thank God. That would have been an unmitigated disaster. Because coming off Biden, the second worst president ever, and again, confronting the president's documents, there you go. Homeowners, when is the last time you checked on your home title? If your answer is never, then this is for you. Scammers are stealing titles, and your equity is a target. Criminals forge your signature. Just like that, your home title can be transferred out of your name. That's why I partnered up with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Please use my promo code BILL at HometitleLock.com, and you'll get a free title history report. Plus, you will get a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts of any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code BILL. Now, on Friday, the Supreme Court ruled against judge shopping. What is this? So when Donald Trump got into office, and this is the message of the day on BillO'Reilly.com, which is different from the column, okay? Donald Trump got into office. He wrote a bunch of executive orders trying to overturn the Biden executive orders of 4 years ago. When Biden opened the border and did all that, Republicans did not challenge a lot of that in federal court. They groused about it and complained about it, but they didn't go around and try to undermine executive orders en masse. That's not what they did. Democrats did. So the Democrats would go to Washington State or Massachusetts or California, or one of those, find a judge they knew would rule in a liberal way against Trump. And then they slap on a national injunction. So some pinhead judge in Sacramento could stop an entire executive order for the entire country. Now, I knew this was insane, and so did you. I'm sure you did. Here's what I said on June 4th. Go. So the founding fathers said, we're going to give the president the power to issue executive orders to protect the people and the people's treasury, not to abuse the people. That's what executive orders are supposed to be. Now, they are subject to review from the judiciary, but now that's being abused to the highest level in our history. And the Supreme Court has to rule on it, and I assume they will this month, because after the end of June, they take 3 months off. So I assume that they're going to rule and knock this crazy stuff out to some extent. Hello, Nostradamus, that's me, but it wasn't a hard prediction. Okay, but everything I said came true on Friday, 6-3 ruling. Okay, the justices had limited the use of nationwide injunctions. Okay, they said that if you're a judge and somebody comes and files a petition, you can hear that case, the single case, if the person's in your jurisdiction, but you can't issue a national pause or anything else. So the left went crazy. And the 3 liberal judges, and look, I'm not going to disparage the liberal judges, because there are conservative judges and they vote ideology sometimes too, but the liberal judges had no constitutional basis. So here's what Amy Coney Barrett, Supreme Court justice who ruled the majority opinion, wrote the majority opinion, I should say. Here's what she said, quote, "We will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself. We observe only this. Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary." All right. So Ketanji Brown Jackson, appointed by Biden, is probably more liberal than Sotomayor, definitely more than Kagan. And she would, okay, you can't stop this and all that. And the 6 other judges said, this is crazy. That's not what the founders had in mind. And certainly it isn't. All right, but Judge Jackson doesn't care, because she views her job as advancing a cause, a liberal cause. But again, some conservatives feel that way too, in my opinion, my humble opinion. All right, so this is an ongoing battle over the Constitution being used for political purposes, but there's no doubt it was in this case. Now, on cable TV, which is sunk into the morass, I don't think it'll ever come out of it, it was predictable. Go.
I was trying to sort out my feelings on this matter, and I came up with a quote from a very smart lawyer, and I just want to quote it because I think she was right when she said it. It just can't be right that one district judge can stop a nationwide policy in its tracks. Justice Elena Kagan in 2022 said that, of course, when we had a Democratic president. Now, she voted against the decision on Friday. It just goes to show you that some of these folks really are hacks.
What the Supreme Court is done, and again, stacked largely by these Trump appointees, is ceding their power under the Constitution, in fact, their responsibility as a judicial branch, they're ceding that to Donald Trump, who is a lawless president.
No, what a bunch of bull that is. Now, the original executive order that sparked all this was President Trump's intention to say no more birthright. Okay, so if you are born here, you are not automatically a citizen. That's what President Trump wanted to do. Now, the Supreme Court did not rule on that. And I don't think they're going to rule in Trump's favor. Okay, it's clear in the Constitution that those words are there. If a person is born in the United States, that person is a citizen. Doesn't matter how they got here. There's no footnotes. So Senator Van Hollen, who's, about as far left as you get, he's going to be proved wrong. Because I don't think the Supreme Court's going to knock that out of the Constitution. It may be possible they might attach a few things for review of it. But anyway, that has been paused for 30 days. And since the court doesn't come back till late September, I think the pause will be extended. And that's a memo. Another ruling on Friday, Montgomery County, Maryland. Parents sued in federal court saying, look, if the schools in Montgomery County are going to teach about gay stuff and they're going to promote LBGTQ stuff, then we want our kids to be out of the classroom because we don't believe that on religious grounds. Okay? And again, the justices ruled 6-3, same thing, that if you're a religious person who does not believe that the gay lifestyle is accepted by your religion, your kid doesn't have to listen to that. Common sense, right? I believe. So they're not banning the lesson. They're giving the parents a right to take the kid out when that happens. Okay, so the left, of course, went nuts. Go.
Right now, this looks like it affects only books with LGBTQ plus characters, but it very well might extend to science and evolution and all the other things that for some reason are up for debate in this day and age that are rooted in science and understanding, but it very well might upend what we think of as public education.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Okay, I don't think they're going to be imposing evolution on the kids in the classroom. Both should be discussed, though. Why not? Why not discuss the biblical point of view? Say, look, there are some fundamentalist religious people who believe Adam and Eve were there, and the snake was chasing them around. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, you don't say it's fact. But you know how it is. What this ruling is all about, is there are many states, Maryland at the top of the list, that want to impose liberal doctrine on the students. That's what they want. Okay? I guess there are some states that want to impose conservative doctrine, maybe Louisiana because they had the Ten Commandment thing, but the liberal states are real active in this regard. We don't talk enough about those truly making a positive impact. So let's take a moment to discuss Delta Rescue, the world's largest no-kill care-for-life animal sanctuary. Home to more than 1,500 rescued animals, it is staffed by trained specialists who provide lifelong care, love, and safety. They do incredible work. But look, it's important to remember that Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions from us. I have donated. And so should you. Their founder, Leo Grillo, built a legacy of dedication and everlasting love for animals. So consider making it a part of your legacy too. Talk with an estate planner. Check out the estate planning tab at deltarescue.org. You can make a difference, even get potential tax benefits. So please visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. deltarescue.org. Hey, folks, listen to what I am about to share with you. It's important. If you suffer from fatigue, memory loss, achy joints, or just find yourself getting sick all the time, then check out Strong Cell. You used to get NADH in an IV, but not anymore. Strong Cell's proprietary formula delivers NADH in a way your body can absorb. It's the first NADH supplement that works. There's over 30 trillion cells in your body. Take care of them. so that they can take care of you. Results include a sharper, clearer mind, increased natural energy throughout the day, so no more afternoon crashes. It's an easy daily 2-ounce drink. You'll feel the impact in 3 to 6 weeks. Invest in your health. Visit strongcell.com/Bill. Use code Bill to get 20% off. That's strongcell.com/Bill. All right, this isn't funny. South of the border, Mexico remains out of control, getting worse. Over the weekend, 20 bodies are found in Sinaloa. 4 headless corpses hanging from a bridge, of course. I mean, this is just a regular weekend, okay? 27 murders on one day, June 29, Sunday. Okay, everybody's supposed to be in church. Mexico's Catholic country. 29 murders, one day in Sinaloa. That's one province. Okay? President of Mexico can't control it. Here was a statement from the Mexican government, though. Military and police forces are working together to reestablish total peace in Sinaloa. Yeah, okay. How long has that been going on now? What, 20 years? You can't or won't stop the killing. The drug cartels control the country. Now, if President Sheinbaum would cooperate with President Trump and join forces, the two countries could wipe out the cartels. But Sheinbaum will not do it, nor would her predecessor, Obrador, who I believe, and I could be wrong, had a little arrangement with the cartels. Let's put it that way. Okay? Sheinbaum have that? I don't know. Not trying to save any lives. So far in this year, first 6 months, 11,121 murders in Mexico. It's the most dangerous country in the world. 11,121. That doesn't count the thousands of people who just vanished. The crocodiles ate them or something. I don't know. But they're dead. Hey, Claudia, wise up. Smart life. So this is an interesting story. When COVID hit and people were off the streets, you weren't banned from going out. You just had to wear a mask or whatever. But very few people, comparatively, did go out. Most people, cliche alert, sheltered in place. Those who went out on the highways drove like 150 miles an hour because there wasn't anybody on the highways. That has now carried over to post-COVID. If you go on a Long Island Expressway where I live, you got dangerous people going 100 miles an hour or more weaving in and out of traffic. So much so that there is a public outcry here in New York about it. So, Allstate has ranked the safest cities for driving and the unsafest cities. Let's go with the safe cities first. The safest place to drive an automobile, a vehicle in the USA is Brownsville, Texas. Isn't that a shocker? On the border. Boise, Idaho. Fort Collins, Colorado. Cary, North Carolina. Laredo, Texas, another border town. Olathe, Kansas. Scottsdale, Arizona. Port St. Lucie, Florida. Madison, Wisconsin. Eugene, Oregon. Interesting group. Here are the most dangerous. Boston, by far. Because Boston, you cannot drive in the town. They don't have street signs. The town it hasn't changed its grid since Samuel Adams and John Hancock, and narrow streets everywhere, and nobody knows where they're going. Don't drive there. D.C. second, I don't really know why. Baltimore third. Worcester, Mass. Why? Worcester, Mass would be fourth. I don't know. Springfield, Mass. I guess they're just not enforcing the traffic laws in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Glendale, California, suburb of LA, LA itself, Oakland, Providence, Rhode Island, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. New York City's not on the list because people aren't crazy enough to drive in New York City anymore. Number one, it costs you like $50 to do that. And number two, it's insane. You're just going to sit there. That's why it's not on the list. Now, here's a smart life tip. Most of us have to drive. We're going to encounter people who are insane on the road. You can't react And to me, that's the hardest thing. I really want to whack them. I really do. Road rage, I don't know what you call it. You can't. You can't. So somebody tailgating you, you pull over. Let the idiot go by. Somebody weaving in and out. I try to get the plate number. Okay, and if I see a cop or something, I give them the cop. But that never. What they should have is drones photographing these cars, and they will. They'll have to, and get these people. Charge them with felonies, reckless endangerment. That's what I charge them with. Here in New York, they are impounding the cars now. Good, smart life. Okay, Donald Trump, in addition to putting migrants in the Everglades, bombing the Iranians, and basically telling California to go blank yourself, has a new fragrance out. It's true. $249 gets you 3.3 ounces of Victory 4547 fragrance. Here is how it is described. It's for men with rich masculine notes, and women a perfume with sophisticated, subtly feminine scent. Okay, so Trump's selling the cologne and perfume. Now, this is a venture by CIC, which is a corporation owned by Donald Trump. I think he had to put this someplace when he was reelected president. His kids control the Trump organization. They're probably controlling this. But anyway, I don't usually do these kinds of touts, but you can get the fragrance on the internet. It's $250 for 3 ounces. So I don't think cocaine is that expensive, but I don't know. I'm not in that world. If you do buy this, please let me know. Bill at BillO'Reilly.com. BillO'Reilly.com. Write me an email. Tell me why you bought it and how it's going. Is the dog howling? You know, are you happy with your rich, masculine fragrance? I think Chester A. Arthur put out a cologne, but I'm not sure. He was a bit of a dandy. President Arthur was, but I have to check that. Trump cologne. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.